Today we're looking at the government inspection report for Arbor Hills Care and Rehab Center, located at 800 Chambers Road in Ferguson, Missouri, which is in St. Louis County. Surveyors completed this report on May 17, 2024, and as I record this in March of 2026, this is the most recent annual survey that we have available for Arbor Hills. I'm David Terry, and I've been handling nursing home abuse and neglect cases in Missouri and Illinois for 25 years. And today I'm going to go through with you what the government's own inspectors documented about Arbor Hills, and I'm going to let you draw your own conclusions. And I'm going to focus on three specific findings today. First, about a resident whose wound treatment the facility administration refused to pay for. Second, a finding that there was a staffing failure that left the building without a registered nurse on several occasions. And third, a finding about a resident who was physically attacked twice. So let's start with finding one, that the administration refused to pay for a mattress that assisted with wound care. And I want to lead this with a quote. And this comes from page 43 of the 58-page survey for Arbor Hills. A resident who's identified as resident 63 had returned to Arbor Hills after hip surgery. She had severe cognitive decline and was not able to speak for herself. She developed serious pressure wounds on her left foot, and as the wounds progressed, the physician ordered a low air loss mattress, which is a standard intervention to prevent or treat pressure injuries. Unfortunately, she never received that mattress. When surveyors asked why, the director of nursing told them this, quote, "The low air loss mattress was not ordered for resident 63 because the administration did not want to pay for it," end quote. The director of nursing also stated that the physician orders should always be followed. Now here's what the records show led up to that point. Resident 63 returned from hip surgery on December 15. Her Braden scale risk scores, which is the standard pressure injury risk tool, showed that she was already at risk for pressure injuries. By January 1, her score had dropped to a 10 out of 18, and that's high risk. According to the survey, no prevention interventions were in place after surgery. No repositioning protocol, no offloading, and her care plan was not updated. By January 6, 3 weeks after the surgery, surveyors found the first documentation of wounds on her left heel and foot, both already unstageable. From there, the wounds deteriorated. By January 31, the wounds were unstageable and deteriorating more. By March 13, they were stage 4, the most severe classification for pressure injuries. And throughout that entire period, physician orders were repeatedly not followed. The order to apply wound treatment twice daily was missed on multiple dates across January, February, March, and April. Surveyors also found that the order to cleanse and dress the wound daily was missed more than a dozen times in February alone. You can find that on pages 42 and 43 of the survey. On May 3, surveyors confirmed that resident 63 still had a regular mattress on her bed. The director of nursing told surveyors that same day the care plan should have been updated after her hip surgery and interventions should have been implemented. Finding number 2, apparently 22 days without a registered nurse. Let's go to the second finding, and I want to talk with you about what exactly they found here. Federal law requires nursing homes to have a registered nurse on duty for at least 8 consecutive hours every day, 7 days a week. Arbor Hills had no waiver from that requirement. Now, surveyors reviewed nursing schedules and payroll records from October, November, and December, a period of 92 days. On 22 of those 92 days, surveyors found that there was no registered nurse on duty for the required 8 hours. Nearly every weekend in November and Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, there was no registered nurse in the building. The surveyor noted in the report that, and I'm going to quote here, "Failure to have an RN on duty for 8 consecutive hours a day has the potential to affect the care provided to residents and the supervision of the unit," end quote. One more staffing detail. During the entire 5 days that surveyors were in the building, daily nurse staffing numbers were never posted anywhere in the facility. When asked about it, the assistant director of nursing said she hadn't posted them because the survey was happening. Now let's move on to finding number 3. Resident 54 had a history of paranoid schizophrenia and a history of traumatic brain injury. He used a wheelchair, and surveyors observed him throughout the 5-day survey exhibiting disruptive and verbally abusive behavior. Staff members told surveyors they were unable to predict or redirect his behaviors. One aide, who was identified as CNA1, told surveyors, quote, "I try to keep him inside all the time, but I can't watch him if I'm helping another resident that needs to go to the bathroom or whatever they need." End quote. That's found on page 20. On November 21, Resident 54 went to Resident 45's room and made a crude, sexually suggestive statement to Resident 45, who responded by hitting him on the head with her little grabber tool. Resident 54 then kicked her, and she kicked back and threw water on him. The kicking went back and forth until staff members separated them. After the separation, the report documents that Resident 54 threatened to shoot everybody in this building. It's on page 20. He was sent to the ER for psychiatric evaluation, but he returned the same night with no new orders. A few months later, it happened again. Staff found Resident 54 standing over Resident 45, hitting her on the head and making vulgar remarks. Now, Resident 45 was fully alert and cognitively intact, meaning she knew exactly what happened. And when surveyors interviewed her on April 30, she said she had been moved to the other side of the building, and she occasionally sees Resident 54 in the dining room and stays away from it. She also told surveyors that she doesn't sleep well now due to keeping watch on her door so that that man doesn't come in and do something to her. Now, when surveyors asked the director of nursing about the shooting threat, the director of nursing said that the facility didn't consider it credible because Resident 54 didn't have access to a gun. Surveyors asked whether any search of his person or his room was conducted to rule out weapons, and the answer was no. The director of nursing conceded to the surveyors that a thorough investigation would have included a search for weapons. Now, everything that I've walked through today comes from a public record available for you at medicare.gov/nursinghomecompare. The link is in the description below. And if you want to learn how to find and read these reports for yourself for any nursing home in Missouri, Illinois, or really anywhere in the country, watch my video, How to Find and Read a Nursing Home Survey. And if you're in Missouri or Illinois and you want to talk to me about a situation at a nursing home, you can reach me at our office at 314-878-9797. Now, we're going to keep doing some of these videos on specific facilities in Missouri and Illinois. So keep a watch on those, and I'll see you over at the next one.